They were told the world will end if they meet. One does everything to avoid the other will do anything to meet her. Also, if you hear my sister's demon laugh, no, you didn't. So it's about time that we start thinking about what will happen post Kepler's disbandment. It's very sad. I love Kepler, but we do have to think about it. Shouting is personally my bias, and I thought that maybe she could form a duo with Kawaguchi Arena, who was also on Girls Planet 999. She was another finalist who didn't make it into the group, unfortunately, but she and Shouting were in the same cell. They were great friends, and I think that they could form a really cool duo. Because their names start with X and Y, I thought that Chrome could be a nice name for them, like chromosome, except there's nothing gendered factoring into this equation. That's irrelevant here, really. I did think that they could have like a sci-fi fantasy concept. Their fashion would be, hollow, sleek, sparkly, and for their debut showcase specifically, I was thinking Tekna-inspired looks, Tekna from Winx Club. So like Shouting could wear something similar to Tekna's regular fairy form, and Urina could go in her dance look. I also thought it could be really cute if their fans were called Some Things, like it's written some things with a space in between some and things, but we would call them Some Things just because, chromosomes. And their debut mini album would be called Planet Something, Planet Something, whichever you want to call it. It just feels very cheeky, kind of coy, very like Sonia Nevermind-esque, if you're familiar with Sonia Nevermind, who I love. As far as the debut mini album would go, it would consist of New by Eve, Revolution by Alexa, Get Loud by Twice, A Girl Like Me by Goo Goo Dolls, and Break It by Kara. As far as extra planning, Youngin could definitely have cameos in their music videos just because Youngin was also part of their cell in Girls Planet 999. Whenever they announce something, they could use the hashtag Something Special, and they could have like a little series called XYZZZ, a series of soft covers, to calm you down or even lull you to sleep. And for promotion for their debut mini album, they could do a Pokemon X and Y playthrough, perhaps a Versus. I just really love Pokemon content. I was also thinking they could have a pre-debut trailer which would kind of introduce parts of their concept, and in it, Shouting shoving her face in the peephole of Urina's apartment door and in a very playful way, and Urina opens the door, then slams it shut, but Shouting puts her foot in the door wearing literal stiletto heels. Urina's in pajamas, but Shouting extends a hand as if to hold. Then we see a ribbon there, and Urina takes it, and Shouting approaches but phases through her. Then we cut to Urina dropping the ribbon off a roof, in the water, in fire. Shouting puts her hand in the fire, though, her fist protecting it, and she pulls her fist out and looks at the camera as she blows out the fire. And then we go back to her dancing in Urina's apartment, the ballroom choreo that she did. So the music cuts to show she's in her own world, and she extends her hand once more, Urina reluctantly holding it. Urina sees ghosts and starts backing away in fear, but Shouting pulls her back, introducing her to contestants from Girls Planet 999, including Youngin, who is especially happy. Shouting starts dancing to OOO, and Urina seems to remember something, following her movements like she knows it too. Her face perturbed, but she's in a room full of ghosts dancing in sync. What do you expect? Someone pulls the rug out under Shouting's heels, but she doesn't falter, and suddenly a video game-like enemy bursts through the wall, and Shouting steps on one, brandishing a toy gun, shoot pellets as other enemies follow. Very Smartphone by Yena-esque, I guess you would say. Urina grabs a video game controller, waving it like a wand, and then she's pointing it at a girl, and the girl appears confused, the ghosts and enemies gone. Urina puts the controller down and runs out of the apartment, then outside to see if Shouting is there. Shouting appears on several screens, smirks, cocks her head to the side, and you just hear sparking before there's an explosion with Urina's voice turned low, just singing the word chrome. Then we have the music video where Yurina starts tapping person after person on the shoulder to see if they're shouting. The last shoulder she taps is Youngun's, and we see Yurina biting her lip with furrowed eyebrows, very frustrated. Then shouting appears on a screen, seeming tired, and it looks like she sees Yurina even though she's not actually there, and she runs, and so does Yurina, seeming giddy, for lack of a better word. Shouting is outside of a hotel room trying to breathe deeply, seeming relieved as a woman opens the door for her, and there's a shot of her just locking a shit ton of locks, patting her chest as if she can match its pace, and Yurina is knocking over and over, her pace remaining the same the entire time. Shouting is on the other side of the wall, shaking and staring ahead vacantly, and Yurina stops after exactly a day and a minute. Shouting seems asleep, but she stirs only a little after the sound stops. Yurina starts speaking, her voice soft while pressed against the door. Shouting throws her things at the door, though her face remains frozen, merely her chest heaving as she tires herself out. She goes back to sleep, but locked in the bathroom where the cold tiles help calm her a bit. In the dream world, Yurina is braiding her hair, telling her she needs the curse to wear off soon so she can brush her hair for real, since it's a mess in the real world. The physical world and the spiritual world will collide, and it will be dangerous, but not for them. They've been promised safety as long as they keep their hair nice. And Shouting whispers to herself to remember, but wakes up crying when the knocking starts again, trying to practically melt into the floor as she smacks and berates it. It cuts to Yurina getting in a cab with a cast on her hand, the other playing with the ribbon in her hair. We see it with a pattern of X's just like on her cast, and the spirit world plays tricks on Yurina that gets her strange looks. She walks down an empty street, turning to look over her shoulder like someone is speaking to or touching her, and ripping out the ribbon. Things are normal again, but she experiences excruciating pain for about a minute until Shouting appears behind her to tie the ribbon again. Also, when I say a minute, I don't mean like a minute in real time, just like within the music video storyline, it happens over a minute. But yeah, this is basically, it's an interesting one. I do think it's interesting to talk about Kepler lately, just because we are moving into the end of their contract, which is very sad for me. I really do love Kepler, but at the same time, I'm looking forward to them moving on to different projects, because hopefully they'll find more success that way, because a lot of people really don't vibe with Kepler, which I understand. I do have a video I want to make on what I think could happen with the Kepler members post-disbandment, but it's a very different video for me to make, so I'm trying to figure out how to like structure it. But besides that, this is a fun duo that I came up with, and I could definitely see myself returning to these two if people would ever want to see an update. But yeah, and I do apologize for kind of taking a break from I Envy You. It was just kind of like I made the channel to do analyses, and so I'm trying to figure out like a ratio of do these many analyses, do these many IMVs. I think you guys probably understand what I'm saying. Also, thank you for 450 subscribers. I don't know if I'm supposed to thank people for that, because I feel like you might expect me to just wait for 500. No, I'm just gonna say thank you for 500. Thank you for 450. That's really, I am still so confused. I'm still so confused how, why any of this is happening. And there is another series coming soon. I know I need to stop. I shouldn't have a million series, but I need to make this series because it's been in the works for like over a year. So expect that. I don't know if it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it's fine. It's fine. We're just having fun at this point, you know? So yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening. If you listened all the way through, I really genuinely appreciate it. Thank you.